Hi, I'm Michael Corr, a tech artist over at Solis Animation here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I've been fortunate enough to work on a lot of fun projects with them over the last 7.5 years. The studio was founded by siblings Leslie and Lou Solis, two very kind and wise brothers who have taught me quite a bit. This video is a behind the scenes look at our use of Reallusion software to quickly create 3 segments for Rare American's The Machine music video. Lou and I worked closely for this one, where we would go over the ideas he and the band set out for the music video, and from there, we got to work. Hope you enjoy this behind the scenes tutorial. Thank you very much.
After looking at the animatic, I had to establish a look for all the characters in this video that would create a consistency in visuals and style, but also had to be very easy for me to modify as insurance for revisions. To do this, I turned to Character Creator. This is a program I've watched evolve over the years. I've used it as a hobby since Character Creator 2 back in 2018. It's a program I felt back then would only get better, and it certainly did. Fast forward to 2024, and suddenly I found myself in a fortunate situation where I could utilize Reallusion's tools for the Machine music video. Here we have CC4 Kevin loaded. He can be found under Actor Character in the Content window. Now we want to click on Pack and find the Cartoon Character Designers bundle. Within that pack, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll find a collection of 9 cartoon skin types. I'm going to choose male type A because he doesn't have the rosy cheeks going on. The Apply Material window will pop up. You can click Apply because we want the cartoon skin to be applied to the whole CC3 Plus model. You will get a warning window that, to convert this, it's going to take a few minutes to bake all the textures for every single separate part. I'm warning you too, this does take about 20 to 30 minutes to convert. However, the final template is worth it, and you won't have to do it again once you have the template saved separately. Let's click OK and then go have lunch. After all is done, you will see your character now has a completely new look. However, those standout eyebrows need to go, so we can put whatever eyebrows we need on multiple custom characters. Go to the Materials section for the model under Modify, and you'll see std_skin_head. Click on this slot so that the texture settings appear below in the same menu space. Right-click on the base map for the head. A great feature is linking Photoshop to Character Creator 4 when you want to edit a texture map. Click on Launch Texture to do so. We won't be in Photoshop for very long. I zoomed into this graphic using Photoshop's Navigator window. Quickly use the lasso selection tool and select those eyebrows. I'm holding Shift when lasso selecting the right eyebrow to keep both eyebrows selected. Now all we have to do is simply go to top menus, edit, and then fill. A fill window will appear. Under the contents drop-down menu, you need to set it to content aware. Hit OK, and the eyebrows are gone. Save the file, and it will automatically update within Character Creator 4. As you can see, the wild eyebrows have vanished. You should also repeat this process to the normal map. It's under Bump, as it will leave a bump of the eyebrow on the forehead if you don't also remove it with Content Aware. We've almost got this template character ready. If you've ever played a video game and made your own character within it, you already have some experience to give Character Creator 4 a try. It comes with a lot of morphs for face and body, resulting in a ton of cool looks for thousands of characters. When I said a lot of morphs, I wasn't kidding. It's very similar to your favorite video game's character editor, but it's customizable to the extreme. Under Modify, click on the Morphs icon. I think you'll be surprised by how much you can change a character within this program. Not only is it a lot of fun to play with the sliders, but it also saved me so much time creating all the characters I needed. You may have noticed this character doesn't have the standard realistic eyes that come with a CC3 Plus realistic character. It's because I changed them. If you go to Actor and submenu Eye, you can find a few choices of eyes to give your character. For these characters, I love the slacker eyes. Let's have them replace the original eyes. Let's go back to the Materials section under Modify while we have the eyes selected. In the material list, click on std_cornea_R. I'm holding Control in order to select std cornea L at the same time. Selecting them at the same time lets me modify their features together. Scroll down to shader settings. You can do quite a bit under the shader settings of the eyes. You can change their diffuse color, change the iris color, shape of the pupils, and more. This really adds to the other stylized look of the character, and I find these slacker eyes do the job. Let's make sure this character has as many facial morphs as possible, so that when we get to animating later, it will ensure a better, higher quality look to the animations. Under the Content window, go to Actor, Facial Profile, and double-click on CC4 Extended. This will add those extra facial morphs to the character template. Let's try it out. Right away, if we turn up the expressiveness, you will see the original, realistic texture pattern appear through our cartoon skin. Let's fix this. Under the Modify window, click on the Expression Wrinkles icon. Below, a large regional influence face will appear on the menu. Scroll down until you see the wrinkle sets. You can see the old realistic texture is being used here. We need to replace it. Back under Materials, we can go to the STD_skin_head material we edited in Photoshop earlier. Right-click the base color map again, but this time we want to choose the top of the menu option of texture files. Expand that and click Save Texture. Save the head's base color map in a folder you desire. Back in Character Creator, we can return to the Expression Wrinkles option and start adding the base color image map of the cartoon face to each diffuse area of Wrinkle Set 1, Set 2, and Set 3. When we check the Edit Facial Expressiveness, we can see the face remains cartoon. You may need to do this again if you make drastic color changes to your character's face textures. Now for one of my favorite features of Character Creator 4, the Adjust Color window. This is a fantastic option for a few reasons. I can edit the brightness, contrast, hue, saturation, and color balance of any material within Character Creator. This made having our main characters stand out by dominant color extremely easy on me. Especially with all the options of clothes Reallusion already provides, just changing their hue and saturation with Adjust Color saved me hours of work. Want to edit the entire body's skin color at once? Just select all the materials you want to change by holding Ctrl and clicking each one. Right-click one of the base color maps and use Adjust Color to your heart's content. It's so handy. With everything I just showed you, I then use a template setup just like this one for all of the characters in the machine. Let's go through who I created within the span of roughly 3 days. Please note that these characters also went through revisions for approval, but these were the finals. The cheerleaders. They were cut from the video, but when you're cut, you become part of the crowd. The sports TV personality, courtside ladies, LeBro gyms, the main character's Miami outfits, their alternative outfits. Here is James' final, Mugasha, Damaris, and Hank. Time to take a character over to iClone, and I'll show you how I used it to animate these characters with ease. I will also show you how live link between iClone and Unreal Engine 5 was used. Hit the Send to iClone button to transfer a character from Character Creator to iClone. I'll be using Mugasha to demonstrate what I did to animate this video through use of the timeline in iClone. The first thing I do for all my projects is make sure that it's set up to match the film settings we'll be using for this project. Go to the title bar, select Edit, and then click on Project Settings. A project window will appear, and we will want to make sure the frames per second are set to 24 and the time mode set to by frame. The reason I set the time mode to by frame is so that when I eventually send this animated sequence to Unreal Engine, the integrity of the animation is accurately represented because each frame is processed individually, where in real time, you risk a loss of frame rate. Let's set up some cameras. The cameras we create here in iClone can also be transferred to Unreal Engine. This is an amazing feature that I'm about to go over for you. It's not a difficult process. When reviewing the animatic, scenes have shot numbers in the top corner for me to follow along with, starting with SH01 followed by SH02 and so on. The left side menu, I have the Scene tab activated. It shows you what assets are in the current scene by list. Click Create on the top menu title bar and scroll down to Camera. Choose Linear. I'm going to rename this camera to SH01 as it was labeled in the animatic. See how I'm changing the current camera angle? Well, the next spot I move to, I can then create another camera in that new spot that I will then label SH02. In the menu above your scene, look for the camera drop-down menu. It should already read as the camera we last made. You can see it here. It has a few options. Preview is your free roam camera. Here are the two cameras, but let's click on our character and activate the Enhance CC characters with head turn morphs. It simply improves the character for more realistic or logical head movements. With the character still selected, we can actually pick a target for him to look at. I'm going to make him look at the camera, which is great if you're making characters that love to break the fourth wall. Between characters, this pick target feature is amazing for keeping eye contact or having multiple characters looking at the same target. Pick target gets a lot of use in my projects. Now I will show you a bit about the switcher. Simply put, it activates a switch between cameras on your timeline. I have the timeline activated here below the viewport. You can open it and close it by hitting F3. On the timeline, I have switcher selected. It is directly linked to switch back up here within the camera select dropdown. Let's set it to switch. Back on the timeline, you can key when you need the shot to change. Right-click on the timeline where you want this change. The pop-up will have a camera list menu option. Expand it to choose which camera you want to activate at this point of the timeline. From frame 0 to frame 14 here, it's set to preview, but at 14, I chose SH02 to activate. You can see the switch works as intended. I moved the timeline ahead to frame 31 just to demonstrate how iClone will fill in the gaps here automatically, or fill in the frames, from looking at camera SH01, to now turn their head automatically to look at camera SH02 when I pick target SH02 further into the timeline. It was pretty simple to set up a basic but accurate head movement. I hope you see the advantages of the switcher and target picker for your own work. It's amazing. Let's actually set up the live link now before we get into animating the character. During the time I was working on the machine, I often had to jump between iClone and Unreal to test how they look within the environment to make sure everything looked great and worked together. James in front of the mirror was hard to master and took a lot of parameter changes within Unreal's post-processing options. Eventually we found a ray tracing setup that worked to reflect James's character in the highest quality. The plugin, Unreal Live Link for iClone, is wonderful. Again, we have Reallusion doing the heavy lifting for you. They've made a way for creatives to take these elaborate scenes from iClone and send all that information over to Unreal Engine and have it work perfectly seamlessly with your Unreal Engine environment setups. This is insane because that's a lot of information rapidly being organized and sent over for you, where traditionally you would have to manually import a lot of image and skeletal information. The Live Link handles all of this for you. Let's install the required content folder data and plugins folder data. You will need auto setup for the version of Unreal you are using. For the machine, I used Unreal 5.3, but here I'm using Unreal 5.4. Install auto setup from Reallusion. It will create a folder likely under C program files, Reallusion, shared plugins, auto setup, Unreal, auto setup 1.36 for Unreal 5.4. It'll be like that if you have your Reallusion software installed to a default directory. Select both content and plugins folder from the directory and hit Ctrl-C to copy both. Here I have the project folder ready below, and all you have to do is Ctrl-V here to paste the folders into your project. After you do that, open up the project file in Unreal. You should see two new black and green icons added to the top menu of Unreal Engine. On the left is Execute CC Setup Action. Let's click this. A window will pop up called Character Creator and iClone Auto Setup Import Options. These are shader options for quality. The HQ shader is the highest quality, and that's the one we want to go with today. You may want to choose the other shaders depending on your game project, but this is for rendered video purpose, so HQ is the way to go. Okay, that's the auto setup for Unreal done. Back in iClone, let's go to the title bar and select the plugins drop-down menu. Scroll down to Unreal Live Link. When expanded, click the top option of Unreal Live Link. Welcome to the Unreal Live Link window. You can see at the top you have Transfer and Link. The link list is much like your scene window on the top left menu. It contains a list of transferable assets to Unreal. Right now, I'm only going to select Mugasha to show his link later in Unreal. At the bottom is a button that is required to activate the live link. When it's highlighted green like this, you're good to go on iClone's side. Switch back to Unreal and we need to establish the live link. On the title bar, go to the Window drop-down menu, scroll down to Virtual Production, expand that, and click on Live Link. A window will pop up, and in the top left corner, you will see a tab with +sign that says Add Source. A drop-down menu will appear, and you can then go to iClone Live Link, expand it, and it will show a port number. The port number is fine, you can hit OK. You will see your character pop up in a list below on the same Live Link window. This says that Mugasha is selected, and the animation is greenlit, which means we are connected. Being connected, I can now send things back and forth between iClone and Unreal. For instance, in all scenes that I work on and animate in iClone, I import reference objects from the scene that I need to work with. For this tutorial, I'm going to send this floor over to iClone, so I know our character is walking on the same surface and at the same world position that we can find in Unreal. Go to this Execute IC Live Link Action icon that we added to Unreal earlier through the Auto Setup plugin. It's right of the Execute CC Setup Action icon we used earlier. Click on it and scroll down to the Transfer to iClone section and click Transfer to iClone. The assets you had selected will quickly transfer to the scene in iClone. This can be super important because sometimes an environment can be enormous and the characters may not be standing anywhere near the 0 coordinates of the map for the shot to work. First, I'm going to transfer a few things while in scene mode while the Unreal Live Link window is active. I have the character Mugasha checked off. I unchecked the props because there are none. Camera is checked to be on, and the 2 camera shots we made earlier are selected to also transfer. Light I keep unchecked because I build lights within Unreal. Click Transfer File, and iClone will then start the process of transferring the data of the scene over to Unreal. When we switch back over to Unreal, you can see iClone is importing a lot of information over. Let it do its thing. Maybe grab a coffee because this can take a few minutes per character. Notice how many textures are being automatically imported on the right side. It's a lot of information. This link is saving us many hours of work. Under the Unreal Live Link window, instead of sending the scene information, now we're going to click on Motion Mode and send over the animated sequence. A more recent game changer to Live Link is checking off Bake All Animations to Sequencer. When we click Transfer with this option selected, iClone generates a level sequence in Unreal. Your timeline from iClone will work exactly as intended in Unreal. Flabbergasted? I know I am. There are just so many features that iClone and Character Creator provide that I'm probably forgetting some steps I took to make the segments in this video. Especially today, Reallusion has a lot of new plugins that I didn't use for the machine but absolutely would use today if I could do it again. For example, the crowds in this music video are generated within Unreal with a blueprint from an asset purchased on the Unreal Marketplace. It's called Stadium Event Spawner version 2 by Bradwell Gaming. This blueprint creates rows upon rows of low poly characters, and it's very handy for large crowds as it's quite optimized for modification. However, Reallusion entered the crowd simulation game, and their updates to crowd features as of recent are outstanding. I am currently getting a better understanding of using Reallusion's crowd simulation features, along with Motion Director, and have used it in some unreleased work. Reallusion has even more features for character interaction. I'm quite excited for the future of iClone Character Creator. Always am. They only get better with time and continue to impress me. To finish off this segment, I'm going to just go over how to change and manipulate facial expressions through the timeline. Then we will go over how I made these characters talk in a few of these scenes with ease. Here again we have Mugasha, and right away you can see I'm on the Motion tab under the Modify menu on the right. You have a few options here for body, but let's go to facial. Right away, you should recognize the expression choices and how many options you actually have. You can change the strength of the expressiveness with the parameter bar near the top. Mugasha looks terrifying right now. Let's turn it back down again. With key all expressions on, the moment I choose one of these expressions, it will set a key under Mugasha in the timeline. So here, I've started him off with disgust at frame 0. In the middle at frame 14, when we made the camera switch, we can use that moment to shift his expression. Here I've made him less disgusted, and a more neutral low expressiveness, angry. If we step forward to frame 31, we can see his expression to happy. I'm going to turn up the expressiveness on this happy expression so that Mugasha looks like he really means it. You can see as I scroll backward through the timeline, all the expressions were blended between keyframes. Too good. Let's make him more angry at the middle for fun. There were a few scenes in the machine where I needed the characters to move their mouths as if they were talking. It being a music video, audio would be playing over them, so I didn't need to record any audio speech. Under the same Motion tab in the Modify menu on the right, 2 above the face key option is Create Script. This feature worked out beautifully for when Damaris is being interviewed and James is singing into the microphone. Click Create Script, go to TTS, a text-to-speech editor window will appear. This lets you type in the words you want your character to say. It even comes with 2 digital voices under voice mode. Here, I'm struggling to type in the simple phrase, "Holy crow, this Reallusion software is amazing." Going to turn up the pitch as I anticipate a robotic voice. Let's hear it.
Holy crow. This Reallusion software is amazing.
Perfection. Remember, I don't need the sound of Dr. Spatzel here, or as Reallusion calls him, Dave. When we click OK, it's going to set up all the Aculips sections and animate the mouth for me. You would normally refine these Aculips segments here, but for the machine, it wasn't necessary for me, saving me time. That's really all I need when music is being played over top. I'll never tell what Demars and James are really saying in those moments.
Holy crow. This Reallusion software is amazing.
You can actually give the character a mood-driven autoblink. There are a few options here. I'm going to choose nervous because I can relate to that.
Holy crow. This Reallusion software is amazing.
Final renders for the machine were completed in Unreal using the movie render queue. They were rendered at 3840 by 2160 in the appropriate clips for all three segments. They are then sent off to comp to be placed in the music video. All of these features of Character Creator 4 and iClone 8 made for an experience that convinced me it only gets better from here when using Reallusion software. The machine was the first time I was able to use this software for work, and it's definitely not going to be the last. What I achieved in that short amount of time I think is amazing and only made possible through the use of Reallusion software. Of course, I have to give major credit to Blender and Unreal Engine for giving me another level of freedom between Reallusion's programs. Your time has been greatly appreciated, and I hope this video was insightful and educational. Thank you, and I'm certain I will see you again soon.